Hey guys, attention deficit firefighter here, and I've got another tool. I showed you guys this one in my last video. This is my new custom built newer cook from Firehooks Unlimited. I got in touch with my friends at Two Devils Tools, the same guys that run Rise Above Fire training, and I let them know that I wanted a very specific tool, and I wanted to see if they can make it happen for me. So they got in touch with Firehooks Unlimited, and they made me this. This is a 44-inch newer cook, just like this one. Still got a New York hook at the top. But you'll notice on my Halligan end, I've got a big old adze on there. This is a 3-inch adze instead of the typical 2. And I'll show you here in a few minutes why I like having a big adze. You'll also notice that my shaft is a little different. This shaft is, they call it the gunmetal steel. It's a little bit thicker, and it's appreciably heavier. This is a lot more robust, and I'm hoping it's going to be a little stronger than that one, which I bent at a factory fire. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the finish on this tool. And I'm once again wearing gloves because this silver paint that they put on it comes right off. Every time I work my shaft, my hand ends up completely covered. I've got silver streaks in my car, in my wife's car. I've got silver streaks in the truck at work. I got silver streaks everywhere but my underwear. So what I want to do today is, number one, address this finish and put a new finish on it. The other piece I want to talk about is this sweet, sweet adze. I went with this bigger adze because this tool does not have forks. So certain inward swinging doors were giving me a little bit of trouble that hopefully I can overcome with this. At the same time, my main complaint about this tool is the adze. And I don't know if you guys can tell just how bowed down this tip is compared to this side. It might show up a little bit better from the back. Looking at it from a side profile, the profile is great. It's the same profile that they use on the Pro Bar. But it looks like they took a regular 2-inch adze and just welded a bit of steel on the end, which is totally fine. But the fit and finish on the actual welding job doesn't seem all that great. I don't know if you can tell, but we're nice and flat here. It kind of drops off to a point, and this definitely looks free-handed. I'm not a huge stickler on how my shoulders up here square up, but there's a purpose to having this thin the way that it does, and I'll talk about it here in a little bit when we got to the forcible entry prop. As far as the actual New York tip, works fine. It's a roof hook. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. I have elected to leave my spike alone and not mutilate it like I did on my Jake rake. You're okay, little buddy. The other complaint I have about this, though, that I'm going to address today is this finish. So I don't know what happened here. I didn't take that off. But a lot of this is rubbing right off as soon as it gets warm. I'm not a big fan of that. It's leaving silver streaks all over my car, my gear, everything but my underwear. So what I'm going to do today is try to address this adze a little bit. I'm going to put a different finish on this steel, see if it holds up. And I'm going to take it out to the forcible entry door and see what we can do with it. So first things first, I'm going to get this sanded up. I'm going to start with some 80 grit sandpaper, get some respiratory protection on, and get a new coat of paint on this. So let's go ahead and find a good spot to leave this up, and I'll be back with you guys in a few minutes. Hey, so what do you guys think of my big white shaft, huh? So I'm running some just Rust-Oleum Universal Bonding Primer. I'm going to put 2 good coats on here a few minutes apart, let them dry, and then I'm going to come back with some more spray paint, hopefully get a nice finish on my big white shaft. So while I was watching paint dry for my cool internet gig, I noticed something really neat that whoever fabricated this tool for Firehooks Unlimited put in that I think is a little bit of an Easter egg. See, they added this little mark here right exactly at 1.5 inches in, and that's to help you set your adze correctly when you're doing forcible entry. I didn't realize they'd be putting this feature in here, but I'm super appreciative of it. So if you're the guy who did this, just know I did notice, I do appreciate it, and nobody will love you the way that I do. So why use a 3-inch adze on my newer cook when a 2-inch adze, like I have on my Jake rake, is perfectly acceptable. Most doors are only 1.5 inches wide, so 2 inches of spread should be more than enough to get them open. And normally I would agree. Since this is a longer tool and I get a greater shaft, I get a greater mechanical advantage no matter what size adze I put on here. Case in point, this is a 44-inch bar with a 2-inch adze, giving me a 22-to-1 mechanical advantage. This is a 44-inch bar with a 3-inch adze, giving me a 14-to-1 mechanical advantage. A 30-inch Pro bar, the gold standard for forcible entry tools in the United States, is 30 inches long with a 2-inch adze. That's a 15-to-1 mechanical advantage, very similar to what I'm getting out of this bar. But I get another inch of spread. Why is that important? Some interior and exterior doors have additional locking mechanisms. This can defeat a wider range of mechanisms because it can push the door that much further. Normally, on a Halligan, the way that you defeat those larger doors is by flipping it over and using the forks to get greater reach. I don't have forks, so I have to make up for that with the wider adze. And in this tool, I feel like it makes a lot of sense. They have tried using wider adze on Halligans. Take a look at Firehooks Unlimited Maximus line of Halligans, and they have a 3-inch adze. The problem is it's still a 30-inch bar. That only gives you a 10-to-1 mechanical advantage. So what a lot of guys were doing was cutting it back down to 2 inches, giving you what they call the Maximus mod. I think we could do a little better with this. I think if I cut a little bit of a groove in here, I can make this into a lock pulling tool. I haven't quite gotten there yet. Stick with me, YouTube. We'll get there. So I'm going to go back to carrying my newer cook at work. And I'm going to see if I can get it into some fires, get into some situations where I can put this to a little bit better of a test and see how well my new paint finish holds up, which is already starting to come off, and see how well the steel on this tool starts to hold up. This is built just like the Pro Bar is. It's the same thickness steel in the shaft. It's the same type of steel. This should hold up really well. I'm going to find out. I do think it's important that for us as firefighters, that we take the time to either purchase our own tools or at least take ownership and pride in the tools that we have at work. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to take them all and paint them, but it does mean you need to take the time to knock the rust off of them, to make sure that you're lubing your tools appropriately, to make sure you're taking them off the truck and training with them and practicing with them, getting used to carrying it in your hands. If you don't have a tool when you get off the truck, you are the tool. And I'm not really good at forcing doors barehanded. So I bring my own tool with me. If you liked any of the content in this video, it would mean a lot to me if you would like and subscribe. I know every YouTube video in the world asks you for that. The reason that we do that is my reach, the people who get to see my video, is directly related to how many people subscribe to my channel. So it would mean a lot to me if you would take a moment and subscribe, like the video, and if you really liked it, please leave me a comment. If you didn't like it, please leave me a comment. All of those things push the YouTube algorithm into showing my videos to more people. My goal is to make money doing this, money that I can turn into more fire tools and more cool stuff for you guys to see. So if you want to see someone do something a little bit different than just watching fire trucks or explaining very briefly what fire tools are, and you want to see some new things, please like and subscribe. In any case, I truly appreciate you, and stay safe.